Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So guys, in this video we will have our discussion on a very interesting topic, which is going to be everything about the cults which you need to know. So definitely guys, ever since I started uploading this playlist of yearly predictions for the 2025, over where somehow I emphasized on this thing that with Rahu's entry in the Aquarius and Saturn's entry in the Pisces, this could give rise to lot many cults like in the year 2025. After which lot many people started asking my views on this. Some people also started recommending different names as well, like in the past or ongoing names. Now when I say cult, this could be a sex cult, this could be a religious cult, this could be based on the belief, based on the political ideology. So it could be so many ways. So in this video we will try to look at these different cults on the basis of the astrology. Like definitely for someone to become so influential, to have that magnetism and power to attract and gain that trust of so many people. Like there have been those negative cases, I guess, which happened in Guyana, in the Jonestown, where the cult leader is also kind of invoking people to even take their own life as well. Heaven's Gate, like there have been so many instances. So in this video guys, we will have our discussion. So just to stick to a proper path and proper sequence, I have also designed certain slides, and over there only we will be having a discussion, and at the end I will try to tell you the astrological alignments which give rise to these kind of cults, people who are, or specific person who is going to be on the prime, on the peak of the position, and those who are going to be the followers. So the predator and the prey, and I would say the godlike figure and his devotees or followers, what could be the astrological alignments which give rise to that. So if you have a secret cult happening next door, so after watching this video you might get some idea. So okay guys, starting first with definitely I gave this video and the whole presentation the name as diving into the cults. Now guys, the very first thing is that when we talk about those kind of people who tend to remain at the helm of any of these cult groups, so now if you will narrow down the personality traits of theirs, you will definitely find that somehow these people are going to be very power hungry. Out of the horde of the group, people with the similar belief, for someone to be rising to the top of the power, definitely there has to be that hunger, insatiable appetite for the power. You will definitely find certain traits of the narcissism in the personality as well, my way or the highway. In certain cases it has been found that in certain tribes and indigenous communities and all, where people were being manipulated when they joined any cult, any group and all, that the person who was dominating, controlling everyone, that person had those issues of paranoia or a delusion and all. So we will try to look at it from all perspective. And third thing, and the most important thing, is charisma. These are the kind of people who will definitely going to be very charismatic. Like the way guys, whatever we get to know about them at the end, that is what when they are almost at the close or at the brink of their conclusion of their life journey, but right at the beginning, when they are just rising, when they are amassing the loyal followers and attaching them to the cause or to themselves, that time they will come across as someone who's going to be very charismatic, any of those civilized and very law-abiding kind of next door uncle or neighbor. So they definitely give that kind of academic and that kind of vibe to them. So now comes the second part, that okay, what is the kind of system on which these kind of cults operate or work. So the very first thing is that they have this transcendented belief system, that they give you this kind of impression that they have the solution and they have the answer to everything. Second thing is that definitely if you have to somehow identify or point out some kind of group activity as something which is heading towards the cult or becoming a cult, then definitely there is going to be the system of control. There are going to be certain rules, which could be that what shall you wear, what you can eat, or who you could marry, and how many kids you can have. Trust me, there have been those instances where these cult groups were strict enough or controlling enough to have their influence in all of these kind of personal lifetime decision of their members as well, their followers as well. And generally guys, what happens is that the system of influence that plays on emotions to get you to conform. Now this could be that trigger factor could be the fear, the control factor could be the love, that could be the grief, that could be the faith, that could be any of those minute vulnerability of yours over which they will prey upon. Next thing is that now guys, a lot many people generally feel this thing that okay, how can they look for someone? Are they only looking for people who are gullible? Are they only looking for people who are very emotionally broken or very impressionable? But it's not like that. Trust me, if you have to build your network from ground zero and take it to the top, you need people who are very functional. You need people who are very, like I would say, very influential, who will bring that sort of legitimacy to your group. So generally it has been seen that they recruit highly functional people, people with money, people with connections. They want you to work very hard. Like a lot many times it has been seen that these are the people who are very lazy. All what they want is you to work and connect more people to the cause, to the group. And they are always hunting for people who are good, who are idealistic, and who wants to change the world. Along with that, someone who could bring legitimacy to the group. Now comes the next question that okay, how could you distinguish between a religion with a cult? Now what we are identifying or seeing as a cult right now, this would be a subsidiary of those religious teaching or religious belief only. So what is the difference? So as it has been very beautifully explained by the expert over here, cults can be any type of belief system. It does not have to have anything to do with the religion. A religion may have guidelines for you to live by, but in most cases you still have the freedom and independent thinking. That's one of the main difference between a cult and religion. So being a Vaishnav, being a devout Hindu, Brahmin, if I am vegetarian, so this is my personal choice. This is what I follow in the path of the attainment of the truth. But nothing forces me to behave in that way. But if you're a part of the cult, somehow that kind of belief system and rules and regulation get imposed on someone. Now guys, after that, now definitely now we are heading close to the talking about the points which I have written over here. So the very first example which I took of the Charles Manson. Now definitely he is one such person, and definitely if you have any of your crimes, your activities which involve any celebrities, which involves Hollywood, and let's say for example there have been some documentaries, some movies which have been made on you, then definitely that give you a global reach. And we all know about the way he used to use his charisma, and in certain cases he used to even give away those LSD to the vulnerable girls, and they used to get this impression that okay, they have got this spiritual realization or awakening, although it was the effect of the LSD. So I mean to say now, just because here we are talking about the cults and the cult leaders and all, so like the way guys I mentioned this thing, if you will go down the slides where I mentioned and talked about that, they are going to be power hungry, they are going to be narcissistic, they are going to be very charismatic at the same time. They are not going to be that formidable that gonna shoo you away. They will definitely have that kind of hypnotic attraction which will automatically attract other people towards them, that okay, they have the solution for everything, and they will even make you kind of develop a habit of theirs. So this is what the qualities which we have to look at in the chart of the leaders to begin with. So now guys, I took up his chart as a reference example. Now you can definitely see that in his case, his ascendant lord is placed in the 5th house. Now definitely all those people who talk about spirituality in one way or another way, they are making use of the 5th house. Anything about the spirit, anything about the out of the body experiences and all, 5th house will definitely play a very important role over there. Along with that guys, now comes the most important thing is moon. You have to pay attention to the moon. Now if you look at his chart, his moon is in the Capricorn and his moon is conjunct with Rahu and the Saturn. And the most important thing is that if you will pay attention to the degrees of the moon and the Rahu, they both are almost of the same degree. So that tells about that, okay, that sort of, very kind of very bloated kind of ego and narcissism, thinking of yourself as like a god kind of figure and controlling, dominating people around you. So that could be the typical trait. Now along with that, guys, the way I mentioned this thing, that charisma plays a very important role over there. So definitely Venus, which definitely tells about, whether we talk about like people like Charles Shobraj and all, the path of the criminal actions was their choice, was their like destiny to do that, but somehow the main tool which they used was the charisma. And even in Charles Shobraj's case, you will definitely see a very strong Venus which he used in a negative way. So we saw his case. Now second thing is, again guys, do not see it in this light that I am giving this example of Nityananda as a negative example. Definitely I am a devout Hindu, I am a devout follower of Lord Shiva as well. But at the same time, there have been certain controversies around this person. And in today's modern day and age, here we are talking about 2024, where there is one person, he has started his own country and Kailasha, and in that country he issues visa, people there worship him as the god. And there have been those YouTube videos where he has been claiming about that, okay, he can even change the time of the sunrise, he can even change the time of the sunset. So we have to look at the chart. Now guys, over here as well, in this chart, to begin with, I was not relying much on the ascendant chart because there is no authenticity, credibility of the birth time about the Lagan. So I was relying more on the moon chart, because here we are like, here I'm not talking about in this whole discussion. The discussion is going to be done on two parameters, on two levels. One is the person who rises to the level of becoming a leader, and the second chart which we will discuss is going to be people who follow them. So leader and the followers, predator and the prey, you call it anyway, or the god and the devotee and the followers. So I mean to say, when we are talking about from the perspective of that, okay, how the mindset of a leader could be, so we have to look at it from that ways. Now definitely, see, if you have to even do something in the name of the god, in the name of the religion, that too coming from Hinduism, from India, where we have very devout people in every household, but still somehow the universal energy chose him, gave him that designation, gave him that position and that power and that influence over people. So there is definitely going to be some positivity in the chart as well. So we'll look at it from both ways. So now guys, definitely from the numerology, he's born on 1st January 1978. Now his birth date vibration is of number 1, and his life path number, sum total, is coming out to be of number 9. 1 and 9 is considered as one of the best combination, specifically if you have to do something which is connected with philanthropy, humanitarianism, and even people who in any religious institution line of work reach and become the head of the religious institutions. Over here we are getting the credibility, authenticity, I mean to say. Now when we talk about looking at from the moon's point of view, so now guys, if you will look at the moon chart, so moon is conjunct with Rahu, so moon is of 4 degree and Rahu is of 16 degree, although there is a lot of difference in the degree of the moon and Rahu. But yes, that point which I said about, because whenever we talk about narcissism, whenever we talk about that sort of godlike figure and thought process around you, over there as well, Rahu plays a very important role over there. Now guys, even if you will study the chart from the moon's point of view, so definitely the moon is if you will look at the 10th from the moon, there is the placement of the Jupiter. So there is little bit we are getting about this idea that the karam, the action of yours, are going to be somehow connected with doing something connected with godly thing and the religious things. That is a very good indication. And second thing is guys, definitely when we talk about 5th house, 6th house, 12th house, Saturn's placement in the 12th house, definitely there are like certain areas over where we cannot talk much about that, okay, whatever this person is up to, it's all questionable and all, because there are like certain areas which are telling about that, okay, there is some divinity, but your own individualized self to think on those level, in those lines. Rahu's influence on the moon is also giving that indication. And yes, if you have to be a preacher and all, so third house Mercury actually plays a very important role in the fourth house of yours. Venus and Sun's involvement is there. Jupiter is looking back it in its own house. The only concern is that somehow, because when we talk about Saturn's placement in the 12th house, so definitely there was some hidden things and he had to run away from the birthplace and live in kind of a exile or isolation, the way the Indian government calls him. So all of that we saw in the chart. Now guys, let's move to the next slide. Now guys, now we have reached the second part of this discussion, now where we will be specifically talking about from astrological alignments point of view, that what could be the combination which could give you that sort of perception around you, that you have this power. Again guys, here we are not talking about becoming, like even if you become a president, you become a very senior bureaucrat and something, you become a CEO or something, you still do not have that much of the leverage and power to influence and go so deep into influencing someone's personal choices and decision making. But over here, these are those people here we are talking about, that they have the control and power to even take decision to the most personal aspect of someone's life as well. So that sort of qualities, when we talk about that, okay, how could someone be that influential or can ascend to that level and all. So the alignments which you have to see in the chart is that you will definitely find in these kind of charts strong malefic planets. I'm not talking about like natural benefic or malefic. Like definitely we know that Mars is a natural malefic planet, but for the Cancer Lagna, Mars is a very important planet. It's a Yoga Karaka. So here I'm talking about it in general. You have to pay attention to planet Mars, planet Saturn, Rahu and Ketu. You have to see them. Now, for someone to be in this much state and all, you will definitely find their moon to be strengthened. Unless and until moon is not strengthened, you will not be able to handle the kind of pressure, the kind of resistance, the kind of control which you need to exert. So in their case, and in lot many cases, it has been seen that moon is definitely going to be in one way or another way under the influence of Saturn, Mars, Rahu or Ketu. So the moon has to be strong. And now guys, the houses which you will find strong to be, their first house, ascendant, will be very strong. Their third house of courage, prowess, their actions is going to be very strong. Sixth house of competition is going to be very strong, or control is going to be very strong. Their eighth house, like you have to give this notion to someone that okay, I have the potent elixir and solution for all of your problems. I'm like a god which you are looking for. I'm like someone who can do miracles. So eighth house. So 8th house is going to be very strong. 10th house, definitely in order to do actions and all, your main, what you will end up doing, the actual battleground is the 10th house. And the 12th house, secrecy plays a very important role. So you will definitely find this sort of alignments. Now, when we talk about people who are very easy prey to these kind of things. Now we have already talked from the point of view of those people who become the leaders. Now we will talk about from the point of view those gullible people who tend to remain very vulnerable towards these things. So there is a lot many things which are going on. I do not want to label it or name it, but what I'm trying to say over here is that manipulation, emotional control happened in so many different ways. There are different ways by which it is getting done these days. So when we talk about from the point of view of people who tend to remain very impressionable, so in their case guys, first of all, their benefic planets are going to be very strong, like because they have that trust factor that they can change the world, and they are nice people, they are good people. First of all, they are nice, they are good people. We are done with the predator's point of view. Now we are looking at it from the prey's point of view. So their benefic planets are going to be very strong, like their Mercury, their Venus, their Moon, their Jupiter are going to be very strong. Second thing is that there is a slight possibility that their malefic planets are going to be weak, and their malefic planets are going to be weak in the houses of courage and strength. So like they might have a weak planets like in the first house, weak malefic planets like Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Mars are going to be weak in the first house, in the third house, in the sixth house, in the 8th house, in the 10th house, in the 12th house. So they might be weak in these kind of houses. The house which we need to fight over the houses which we need strengthened to be protective at guard, to protect ourselves from any harm. So they might have malefic planets weak in these houses. After that comes the moon, the most important. Their moon is going to be impressionable. When I say impressionable, now you must be wondering how the moon can be impressionable. So guys, definitely, okay, understand this thing that whatsoever planet is going to be conjunct with moon, somehow we get and we remain very accustomed to those kind of vibrations, and we somehow remain very comfortable around that energy. So this could be a case that in the trine houses, in the angular houses, you have a exalted Jupiter, moon is conjunct with it, or anyone who will be talking about religion, dharma, oh my god, you're going to be completely surrendering to that person. If you have a very strong like Venus and moon is conjunct with it, any flashy lifestyle will easily fascinate you. You are very easily to be tempted or be controlled or manipulated over there. So you will definitely find that in certain ways a moon is going to be conjunct or under the strong influence of the benefic planets, because that makes you very easily trusting. That makes you very easily trusting. So in certain ways, in this combination, it is not coming across as a supportive sign. So moon is going to be like that. Now guys, after that, now when we talk about generally how these things happen. So guys, okay, a lot many times what happen is that, and this is where the role of an astrologer or astrology comes. It is the time which has the maximum say. It's not about the kind of yogas you have. If that is the only reason we say that why Saturn is the strongest amongst all the planets. It's not because Saturn is the planet of justice, it's a taskmaster. All of those qualities are fine. Saturn represents time, and time is something. Anything which is very big thing, or like whatever right now happening in the world in the form of the war with Russia, Ukraine, or whatever is happening with Israel, Iran, and all these kind of things, it's gonna change the face of the Middle East. But it's a slow process, and slowly, gradually, it is happening. So with the time, Saturn is doing its deed. So what I'm saying is that, so people, for anyone, like we say that, okay, no matter how strong you are right now, how famous you are, but if your chart is not well supported and the upcoming imminent dashas are not favorable, time is gonna pin you down. So time is the strongest force. So for someone like, that is what we get to know when we look at someone's chart, okay, that the running time is making you very much emotionally vulnerable. The running time is making you financially very vulnerable. So time is the biggest factor. And generally guys, what happens is that, why people get involved in these kind of things and betrayed and being robbed of their trust and their faith and all. So generally you will find that the very first point is that it is going to be desperation. Like there was this article which I read. So this guy who was on different matrimonial apps, he was on the pretext of getting married and all, he almost duped like 10 or 15 women in different parts of the India. And definitely, because when you are desperately looking for something, and this is where the scammers strike you, they know your pulse, that okay, this is what you are desperately seeking for. This could be marriage, this could be love, this could be money, this could be anything, this could be big break in film, television, artistic field and all. It happened, the scam happened to me in Mumbai as well. I was not desperate, I was trying my luck, I mean to say. So yeah, desperation. Second thing is bereavement. We say that, okay, you suddenly lost someone, you lost your dog, you lost your partner, you lost your business. So now you are very vulnerable to hurt, or you're already hurt. This is the time when someone can strike you, take advantage of you, take control over you. And the last is ignorance. Obviously, if you're like, your scanner or your antivirus is not strong, so you are emotionally vulnerable and prone towards getting hit by the scammers and people, predators who are out there. So guys, in short, I do not know how strongly this video served the purpose. Again, because now we are heading towards a year, like the way when this 2024 started, a lot of the astrologers were predicting this thing, that okay, this is going to be filled with war because of the numerology year of Saturn and our Hindu calendar calculation, the Samvatsar, Krodhi, angry, and the king, minister, all the calculation, same way. trust me on this thing. Next year you will see the rise of many cults, new age ideology, philosophy, so many things. So this was just a basic video. Here I was not trying to paint someone that okay, all the cults are bad or cults are good or they are very helpful. All what we wanted to know about that, okay, the guy who's at the top of the helm, top of the position, and the guys who are like blindly following that person. Here I'm not talking about good or bad or authentic or dubious. Here I'm just talking about from astrology point of view. Definitely there's going to be much more discussion on this. This was just a hush video which I wanted to talk about. So yes guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyawad.